to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just please stand up, stay standing. We're going to do a moment of silence for the people that were, these lives that were lost and injured on the bus accident in Farmingdale today. Thank you.
We appreciate the opportunity to do a moment of silence for the horrible accident that took place at 1 o'clock this afternoon in Orange County. I want to, again, our condolences to the families. As of this point, there are 2 staff members whose lives were lost and the possibility of others unfolding through the evening. We have offered any supports to the Farmingdale community that might help them, as we've done and as, frankly, about 40 other districts in Nassau County have offered. One of the things that I think is important, because I know it's a question that will be asked, is we have a director of transportation who is a bear. That's a compliment, Lorianne. Any buses that go out of here, if there are buses or if they're leased buses, if they are coach buses that we lease, those buses are gone over by Jericho staff with a fine-tooth comb. So before we put kids on a bus that we don't own and that we don't keep, those buses are checked to be food perfect before we send our kids and our staff on a field trip. So I just want to reassure our staff, our parents, and our students that we take safety as our singular and highest priority. And we congratulate our transportation department for doing such an incredible job protecting our kids. And again, with that, let's continue to keep those kids, families from Farmingdale in our thoughts and in our prayers.
And now, on a much happier note, we'd like to welcome our new staff. We're very excited to have you join our Jericho family. We hope and we know you'll be really happy here, and we look forward to hearing great things about you. I'm going to read out names. I don't know if everyone's here, but if you're here, please stand up and we'll clap for all of you at the end. Welcome to Marichu Christopherson, Stephen Davis, Nabila Habibullah, Julia Sopa, Cecilia Barone, Ryan Bauer, Jacqueline Butler, Helen Chung, Erica Contreras, Alexis Donnelly, Jessica D'Onofrio, Marion Egan, Zhu Han, Adonia Hernandez, Marcy Kivo, Sean Kung, Brunel O'Keefe, Arena Pastor, Aaron Walsh, Nicolette Dykes, Jaming Lin, Nicole Rapp, Marguerite Ricks, Jacqueline Rockford, John Scandaglia, Lakshmi Zawatowski, Callie Muscarella, Kelly Sousa, Patrick Feinberg, Pauline Apong, Tali Ateas, Tatiana Bernal, Erica Danoff, Emily Marotta, Lauren Parfidio, Nicole Peterson, Haley Rogers, Jasmine Wang, Victoria Arrayas, Avneet Mason, Stephanie Ognibeni, Soraya Sosoto, Kathleen Cuccinella, Sarah Goldstein, Carla Mendrano, Anne-Marie Savage, Jamie Siegel, Michelle Sorrentino, Lauren Volpe, Joseph Skolko, Rosanne Nunez Espinal, Iris Escalante Rosario. And I apologize if I didn't say any of your names directly. But
Thank you and welcome.
welcome. It's nice to see so many of you here. We appreciate it.
Welcome. We've heard in the first, what feels like the first 3 months of school, but in the first couple of weeks of school, we've heard so many wonderful things about our new members of our family, and we congratulate you for doing incredible work in your short time here. So keep up the great work, and we look forward to a long and wonderful relationship. Thank you for being here this evening. I know that many of you have a lot of work to do tonight for tomorrow, so again, please feel free to have a piece of cake, and it's fine if you would like to. There's no more cake. I need a piece of cake. I want a piece of cake. Okay, thank you for being with us this evening.
Yeah, very.
We're going to move to our audit report. We have our outside auditor, Alan Yu.
Thank you, Mrs. Citron. Good evening, my name is Alan Yu. I am an audit partner of the firm Collins & Nowski. Our firm was appointed by the Board of Education to be the external auditor of your district's financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. We have completed our audit, and as required by law, I met with the school board as the audit committee earlier and went over their reports and answered their questions. So I'm here to provide a summary overview of the audit results this year. So when we issue the final audit report, we will be issuing an unmodified opinion on your district's financial statements. That means that your district's financial statements are free of material misstatements and that they were prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. We tested your district's internal controls over financial reporting, as well as its compliance with laws and regulations and provisions of grant agreements. And I'm happy to report to you that we did not have any material weaknesses to report. We did have some recommendations about improving operational efficiencies as well as internal controls, which we issued a separate report and reported those recommendations to the Board of Education and the administration. But your district overall has very good internal controls over the various business cycles. Financially, your district's general fund is in a very good shape, very good financial health. Overall, general fund expenditures did go up compared to the previous fiscal year, even excluding the transfers to the capital projects fund. The areas that we saw increases in terms of the expenditures, employee benefits, medical insurance that did go up compared to the previous fiscal year to a tune of almost 15%, that accounted for $2 million in increase in expenditures. Other areas also saw increases, primarily in salaries, contractual increases, as well as payouts to retiring employees, as well as special education costs. Those areas primarily saw somewhat bigger increases compared to the fiscal year before, and those drove the increases in the overall expenditures. Your district continues to utilize capital reserves and towards capital improvement projects, which is important because that allows you to not rely on debt borrowings to complete these needed capital projects. So your rainy day funds for the general fund continues to be maintained at the 4% statutory level allowed by real property tax law. So overall your district has been in compliance. We also issue a report about your district's extra classroom activities fund. That fund consists of student clubs, and the Board of Education has oversight responsibility and is required by the State Education Department Commissioner to perform the annual audit. I'm happy to report to you that we are also going to be issuing an unmodified opinion on that extra classroom activity fund financial statement. I want to thank Mr. Cushman, Mr. Manuel, your business official, as well as Mrs. Lee, your district treasurer, and their staff in providing my audit team, my team, with the very timely assistance, and whatever question we have, whatever documents we ask for, is provided to us. So thank you again for your cooperation and assistance.
want to thank you, Alan, for giving us a very thorough report. And we also received the report from Naraki Smith, our internal auditors, and that was also a clean report talking about our internal controls. And with that, I also want to, as you mentioned, thank Victor and Melissa and the business office, because you've been doing a wonderful job and we're in excellent financial status based on what Alan has reported, and we thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you. Well, thank you, board members, for your paying attention during the audit committee meeting and for your questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Do I have a motion, be it resolved that the Board of Education acknowledges the receipt of the school district's external audit report from Cullen and Danowski and accepts the district's external audit report and corrective action plan for the year ended June 30th, 2023, and
How are we
acknowledges...
supposed to do that if the report's not complete?
I'm sorry?
The report we're still waiting for,
We're waiting for the fixed assets.
so we can accept it even though it's not done?
And we will provide you the red line changes once Alan completes it. This way we can get it up to the state timing.
And we reapprove it at that point?
We don't have to reapprove.
And again, not trying to, so we can approve it even though it's not complete. I'm just trying to understand how that works.
It's literally just the fixed assets. It doesn't affect the general fund, it doesn't affect the individual funds, it affects the GASB financial statement.
It's like $85 million.
Whatever.
No, Mr. Manuel, I'm simply asking.
This is exactly what we did last year.
Okay.
The fixed assets were not complete when we accepted it last year. And as I stated before for the audit committee, this should be the last year that the fixed assets are delayed because we changed third-party administrators.
Motion.
Wait, I'm not done reading it because I'm going to do them in one resolution. And be it resolved that the Board of Education acknowledges receipt of the school district's internal audit report from Naraki Smith LLP and accepts the district's internal audit report and corrective action plan for the year ended June 30th, 2023. Then motion?
Make a motion.
Second. Chris, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Now we are going to, we have some students here, so we'll let them go next. For the middle school student council, Ramazia Hassan.
Good evening and welcome back to another school year. We hope you had a relaxing summer. My name is Ramaisa Hassan and I'm a 7th grade student council representative. This year's school opened on Wednesday, August 30th, and everything was seamless. The high school leaders from Project AIM, assisting incoming middle school students, volunteered the first week of school. They guided students in the hallways and assisted with their opening of lockers. It certainly subsided their nerves. Thank you, Mr. Velez and Mrs. Greenland, our MS and HS social workers, for coordinating the AIM project. And a special thanks to Mr. Gleason and Mrs. Balut for a great school opening. Our SEL theme of September is community. Community is best defined as a group of people who, regardless of diverse backgrounds, embrace their differences, enabling them to engage in positive communication and work towards communication goals. And this is a wonderful segue to our 11th annual anti-bullying kickoff scheduled for Thursday, October 19th. The rain date is Friday, October 19th. The rain date is Friday, October 20th. Rohan Murphy will be returning as our keynote speaker. Rohan Murphy is a nationally recognized motivational speaker for youth. Despite losing his legs at birth, Rohan began his wrestling journey freshman year of high school and has a successful journey leading into college. Rohan is also an accomplished powerlifter, competing in international competitions all over the world, representing the USA. We are looking forward to an exciting day. This week, Mr. Gleason and Ms. Balut has been facilitating growth mindset workshops in the 6th grade classrooms. Growth mindset is a concept named by Carol Dweck. This concept emphasizes that ability is not fixed. With time and effort, we can improve everything and anything. Our next periods will be starting tomorrow with small groups including staff and students in our effort to foster relationships with an emphasis on building community in our school. The carnival, sponsored by Jericho High School Student Council, will take place on Friday, September 22 from 2 to 6 p.m. There will be rides, games, food, as well as Jericho's sporting events. Saturday, the festivities will continue for all members of the community from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a carnival, games, food, and additional Jericho sporting events. Our clubs, interscholastic sports, and intramurals have begun. Auditions for the middle school play have begun, which is Finding Nemo. We encourage all students to get involved in our after-school activities. We're looking forward to an exciting school year, and that's all for now. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. And now for the high school student council report, Mark Sheen and Natasha Koviwa.
Good evening, Mr. Grishman, board members, administration, and the Jericho community. We're very excited to start the new year and are looking forward to coming back to school. My name is Natasha Koviwa.
And I'm Mark Sheen. On the first day of classes, our senior class started the year strong by taking part in the annual Whiteout and Show Their Spirit. On September 12th, our district held our annual Back to School Night, which was an opportunity for parents to meet teachers after school and walk in their children's shoes for an evening. On September 18th, we held our district-wide Welcome in School Information Night, which was an opportunity for the new families of the district.
Kicking off the year, we are in the process of holding our school-wide Spirit Week leading up to Pep Rally and Homecoming. Students dressed up over the week in various themes culminating in the Sea of Blue for our Pep Rally tomorrow.
And now, for the first time in years, our annual Homecoming will be featuring a carnival filled with numerous fun rides, food trucks, and our football game. However, due to unfortunate weather conditions, the Saturday Carnival is canceled. However, middle school students and families will be allowed to attend the Homecoming Carnival after 2 p.m., and high schoolers can attend after classes end at 3:31 p.m. The carnival will now close at 8 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. to make up for the lost time. There is a special pay one price bracelet. We predict that it will be a grand success. We will be having our homecoming football game that begins at 6 p.m. Please come dressed in all blue to support the Jericho Jayhawks.
On the same day, our very own swim team will be holding their 16th annual Joseph Farrell Memorial Meet honoring the late Joseph Farrell. He was the head coach of the Jericho girls varsity swimming and diving team for 3 years before he passed away from a sudden heart attack on July 2007. Coach Farrell won a Coach of the Year award and helped the team win 2 conference titles.
Similarly, the girls soccer team will be playing on Saturday at 10 a.m. against Glen Cove High School, and the boys soccer team will be playing at 12 p.m. against Nepham High School.
Thank you very much. Happy Rosh Hashanah to all those celebrating the new year, and we all hope to see you here for the next month. Thank you.
Victor's going to read the PTA Council report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Grishman, Board of Education members, Central Administration, faculty, staff, and community members. My name is Allison Edelman, and I am the president of the Jericho Joint PTA Council, and it's my pleasure to be here not be here tonight. The Jericho Joint PTA Council had its first meeting on Monday, September 11th, where we started off the meeting with a moment of silence for the lives lost on this day 22 years ago. We greeted our returning council members and welcomed new ones. We are thrilled to have new leadership in all of our units. We spoke with Central Administration about our successful school opening, welcome and information night, school security, plans for Oveus Day in the middle school, and Smart Decision Day in the high school, and so much more. We are very fortunate to have this open line of communication with our administration each month to inquire about anything that is happening in our school district. All of our units are off to a great start of the school year. Each building welcomed back students with welcome signs and breakfasts for all faculty and staff. We have decided that all our PTA meetings will be in person this year with some type of streaming or recording capability when possible. We want to give our families many opportunities to stay connected with our schools and PTA, and we feel the best way of doing this is in person. Each of our PTA units is striving for 100% membership. This can be done on our member hubs using credit cards, making it super easy to join. We are always looking for new ways to increase PTA involvement in all our units. If you have any ideas, suggestions, or concerns, please contact the officers of your school's PTA. This coming Friday, and not Saturday, is our homecoming. We are very excited to bring our community together, and we are praying for good weather. We are bringing it back old school this year with fun rides, food trucks, and sporting events on all our fields. A special thank you to Denise Nash for making this homecoming happen. She pulled it all together, working with vendors, staff, and students, and it is the true definition of fun. We truly appreciate her tireless efforts. We are very excited to announce that all our units are on Instagram. Please follow your school's PTA Instagram accounts for the most updated events and happenings in each building. The Joint PTA Council account is called Jericho PTA Council, so please take out your phones and follow us on Instagram. We will repost all the PTA posts from each building. It's a great way to be connected to our PTA and school community. Kaniak, Ratner Seaman, and Jackson schools all had well-attended welcome back picnics this month, as well as pizza parties for our kindergartners. The middle school is busy preparing for Oveus Day in October and a highly anticipated Taylor Swift Moving Night fundraiser in November. The high school has been very successful selling senior and Jericho swag to raise money for their senior party in June. SEPTA is busy planning many events that are designed for grades K-12 to be more open and inclusive to all students and families. Our PTAs cannot work alone. We appreciate all the help and support from our Board of Education, administrators, staff, and community. We are grateful for all the hard work, efforts, and energy that go into the many hours you give the school community. We look forward to a very successful, healthy, and safe school year. Thank you and good night.
Good job. Now we're going to have two presentations on the summer program. First, we're going to have about the summer music program. Ruth? Do we need to move?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ruth Breidenbach, and I'm the CA for Music and Art, and I'm very happy to be with you to share the wonderful things about the summer music program that we had this summer. But before I begin and everyone takes their seats, I also want to thank Mr. Frischman and the board for their concern about our friends and colleagues in Farmingdale, and thank all of you for keeping them in your hearts. You know, the music community is a very close-knit one, and we're all connected. And that leads us into the connection that we made this summer. So this summer we had the first ever Jericho Summer Music Program. And the logo at the bottom says, "We play every day," which is the truth. While I go through the slides, I also want to give a shout out. Ethan Brown, a student at the high school, visited us during the program and wrote an article. You might have seen it in the Jericho Sayasi Tribune. And it was really wonderful. I think that Ethan liked it so much he didn't want to leave that day. So we were happy that you could join us. So the summer music program began because we wanted the students to continue playing all summer long. The summer is a great time of growth and maturity in our students, and we didn't want to let that time go by without seeing them continue playing their instruments and singing with the chorus. So that was how we got it all started. We addressed the goals of the students by their musical, social, emotional, and academic needs. And we used the principles that you see going around here. Ensemble education, development of repertoire, musicianship skills, technique training, and of course, community building. We had a fabulous team of instructors and high school interns. So for the band, we had Ms. Bellon, and orchestra, we had Mr. Lee and Ms. Lillianstein, and chorus, we had Ms. Owens, who you saw earlier this evening when our chorus had their reunion concert. And you can see the children's names here too, the students from the high school, many of them Trian members, and they received service hours for their efforts. We couldn't have done it without them, honestly. They were great. So this program structure was for our rising 5th and 6th graders who already had 1 year of instruction in their elementary schools. And you know, in the elementary schools, they have weekly lessons and weekly ensembles. So this is the first time that they got to play every day. The program funding was self-sustaining based on our participation, and the hours were from 9 to 12 right here at the high school. The classrooms that we used were our music area, and it was Monday through Friday, July 5th through 28th, which was 18 days in our total session. A typical day in our program was the students were greeted as they arrived at the drop-off, and they came in. We had a full program meeting with announcements so that they could set their intentions for the morning, and then they would go to their first period class, where they would divide by grade level. 5th grade went to their chorus period or their intensive lesson period, and 6th grade did the opposite. They then went to their ensemble block of time, which was 1 hour of instruction, and then we all got back together again for snack. And snack was lots of fun. We played music, there was dancing, and even playing some chess. The children would bring their chess boards and sit and play. 3rd period was the opposite of 1st period. Fun Fridays was really fun. That was when we had our dress-up days and activities in the gym. We had a wonderful culminating event where parents and family members came to see the children perform or demonstrate their activities from the summer. So they first went to their instrumental periods, and then they came to chorus. We all gathered together in the cafeteria for Ralph's Ices, which was a big treat. And we entertained 46 elementary students, 20 high school student interns, and as I said before, they got their points for triumph. And we had 95 to 100% daily attendance recorded, which was really fabulous. I think the next slide might be my last slide, and when I press it, it's going to send a video off, I think. Oh no, what's next? Here's what's next, everybody. We did a survey of parents who were involved in the program. They loved it, and I think some of them are out there right now, so we want to thank our parents for trying this out for the first summer. We're really happy that you could join us. And in our survey, they mentioned that they might like to see it offered for more grade levels, extended hours, maybe add some visual arts or musical theater components, and maybe even an assembly or a trip experience for our children. So now this might happen. And everybody on your toes. There we go. These are some moments that we had together. You can see all the smiles on the faces. Even the high school students are proud, huh? There's the whole family. That was one of our vacation days. Here's our chorus. In just a minute, you'll see some of the photos of the high school students giving direct instructions to the younger students. In this, they really played a major role in the students' lives, very influential. The young students looked up to our older students. And our high school students got to feel what it's like to be a real music teacher. I'm going to run over to the video and speed it up a little bit, but thank you so much for letting me tell you all about our Durable Song Music program.
Thank you so much. That looked like it was a really good fun program. Now we're going to hear from David Cohen and Chad Gleason about the middle school and high school summer music program.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank Mr. Grishman and the district office and our Board of Education for an opportunity to share with you a little about the summer program that we hosted together for middle school and high school students this past year. So I know we've presented on this in the past, but always a good opportunity for us not only to get ourselves grounded in what the summer program is about, but also give you some updates about how it went. So this past year, again, the question is why? Why have the summer program? So there's really one overarching theme that we have every summer, and that's to identify students that are in need of making stronger connections at the school. We look at that through two lenses. One is through their social and emotional learning factors and how we can enhance their connections, as well as any students that need to enhance their academic connections to the school as well.
Good evening. So school connectedness is the idea that students feel cared about both as learners and as individuals. And kids that feel that way are more likely to attend school regularly, they attend school longer, and they have higher grades and test scores. In addition, they're less likely to engage in risky behaviors. They're less likely to drink and drive, to abuse drugs, or experience violence anytime later in their lives as well. So that's one of the overarching themes that you'll hear in our summer program is building connections both between kids and between kids and adults.
So we always like to talk about, what we provided for the students, and ironically, when we talk about what we did provide, we actually start with what the program is not. So what the program is not, it is not a program that is what you would think about as a traditional summer school program. We do not provide grades. There's no division of subject areas. Students work in teams, and there are no high-stakes exams that we provide.
Projects were fun and engaging. Above all, that's what we want is kids to enjoy being there, and we measure part of the success in the number of smiles that we see every day, kids coming into school happy every day. There was great project-based learning that took place. Students built small mini libraries, free libraries, so that combined tech skills and building in woodshop, mathematics in terms of measuring and division, literacy in terms of stocking the bookshelves in the free libraries. There was great team building going on, and we looked at it as an opportunity to meet kids where they were and really individualize, because there were smaller class sizes of kids in the summer program. One of the best compliments that I heard about the summer program is one of the students came to me and said, "Mr. Gleason, it's like Champ. It's school and camp together. It's so much fun."
So it's the third year that we've had the program, and each year we build upon the previous year's success, and a lot of it is due in part to the great staff that we've been able to put in place. So you see a picture here, but we're able to provide our students with English teachers, math teachers, science teachers, social studies teachers. We have social workers and support staff on site every day working with our students and using a restorative process with them. We have phys ed, technology, and family and consumer science teachers. The middle school and the high school administration, as well as the curriculum associates, push in to provide regular and daily support. And one of the things that we've been able to have the last 2 years is a summer school principal and someone who takes the lead in making sure that the overall program is fully supported and will attended to each day.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the structure of the day. You're about to see a master schedule. You can see that there were 6 cohorts here. They're split up into 6 groups. They had 2 hour-long blocks that rotated between STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, math, humanities, family, consumer science, and physical education, depending on the day. There was also a chance for a 30-minute RP circle where kids built those connections with staff and with each other. There was also a period towards the end of the day called selectives. Those are really high-interest elective courses
Things like tie-dyeing, golf, the perennial favorite smoothie and a movie took place where kids made smoothies in family consumer science and then watched a movie for a period there. So there was also a beginning and end period where kids got really excited about coming in the morning, like a traditional day camp where kids get together for a morning lineup in the morning and then they end all together, and they reviewed themes and quotes at the end to really inspire kids. One of the parts that I know that the middle school students enjoyed the most was having access to the high school cafeteria. In fact, the senior lounge you can see in the middle there was transformed with ping pong tables and games, and that was really a highlight for the middle school kids.
You know, we really feel these pictures are what truly capture the essence of what the program is about. And each one of these slides is aligned with one of the 5 operating principles that we've used to design the summer program. So here, when we talk about project-based learning, you'll see a very hands-on approach, but our students, as I said before, are not in traditional classroom settings, and rather they're working in teams, they're working directly with teachers to problem solve and work on these overarching projects. So this is, many of these pictures are about our STEM settings that took place this summer, and there was a focus on electronic circuitry. We also have a very much an approach to make sure that we're supporting students as individuals. So obviously these pictures help to represent that.
Along the lines of individualization, we also had a math pull-out support. So kids who needed additional math support actually had some time pulled out in small groups with a certified mathematics teacher throughout the day.
And when we think about connections, it's certainly important that we have students working together. So there's a lot of partnered work and a lot of interdependence that they have on one another as well as with the teachers to make sure that they're successful with the projects that are assigned to them. And then ultimately, we want to make sure that we're working with our students on their own individual personal development. One of the things that we noted as we were going through the pictures this year is how prominent our teachers were in each of these pictures, or many of the pictures. So in this case, we see Mr. Dave Herbert literally working with students on building what became new library boxes in our library settings for the books that get donated and supported in that manner.
So living on an island surrounded by world-class beaches, we had some competition with kids for summer school, right? But having 89% attendance at summer school is really incredible, especially at a middle school level where kids are not earning credits or forced to be here. We're not compelling them to be here. They're here because they want to be here. So we're really happy with the 89% attendance rate. And the high school students, they did earn some credits, correct, Dave?
Yeah, so in the high school, it's one distinction that's a little different than the middle school is that for students that demonstrated some struggle in being successful by the end of the school year in June, the summer program provides an opportunity to extend the year and make sure that some of our students can indeed earn those credits. So we saw 18 credits, additional credits being earned by students participating in the summer program. And of our students that participated, some of them sat for August Regents exams. So we saw 11 additional August Regents exams passed for the students that participated in the program.
And thinking about some next steps, so our students were able to build connections with adults over the summer that have already carried through into the year. I know our rising 8th graders got a chance to meet a number of their high school teachers that they now have classes with, and it was a really nice way for them to hit the ground running and start the year, having already made connections with some of their future teachers. Same in the middle school, we have kids that now have another connection, another source of support for themselves inside the building. And I know that we are starting discussions thinking about what a summer program might look like next year if it continues.
Thank you, everyone.
So as most of you are aware, the funding for our summer program, which will end in the summer of 2024, is federal funds that were put together and offered to school districts, basically because of COVID. And those funds have been used in districts to support students during and post-COVID. The funding is scheduled to run out in the summer, next summer, in 2024. This past summer, I had the opportunity to meet with the U.S. Commissioner, Cabinet Member Miguel, and he spoke at great length of how impactful those federal funds were, Miguel Cardona. And he was working and trying to lobby in Congress to see if additional funds could be put together based upon the success that school districts reported. So he is working, and we have reached out and will continue to reach out to our congressmen and our senators to encourage a continuation of this funding so that the program can continue to run in the future. We are so pleased with the success and the feedback that we've received from our students, from our staff, from our parents, that we really are eager to see this continue in the future. So thank you to Ruth, Chad, and Dave for an excellent presentation. May I have the floor? Thank you. I have a need to clarify the record from our last Board of Education meeting. On August the 25th, at a special Board of Education meeting, Sam Perlman, in discussing conflict of interest, and I will quote directly from the record, Guercio and Guercio has worked for the superintendent, defending the superintendent in a prior claim that he misused school district assets. It is a pretty black and white statement. The Guercio firm represented you in an appeal by members of the community about the misuse of district assets. Greg Guercio was successful, despite what the commissioner said was a weird set of facts, which I don't see in his report. Greg was able to get the appeal dismissed on procedural grounds. Clearly in those statements, which you can view for yourself to see the exact quotes, clearly the implication is that I misused district assets, district funds, which is a blatant false statement. I needed to go on the record this evening to clear the record. You are free to look at Commissioner's decision 13-542. The decision is dated January 1996. In that decision, petitioners allege that PTA respondents improperly used school property to produce and distribute the above described flyers in an impermissible attempt to influence a budget vote. Again, the commissioner's decision was clearly aimed at district property being used to photocopy material for the upcoming board election. The appeal of the commissioner specifically stated that the PTA is prohibited from using school district established means of communicating with parents for partisan purposes. Respondents are admonished to conform their future conduct with this decision. I ask all of you to please feel free to look at the commissioner's decision and to also review the board video from August 25th, 2023. I'm eager, and I've requested a retraction from Mr. Perlman, which I have not received.
I appreciate the superintendent's comments. 2 points. One, where was the request for a retraction sent? Because I, unfortunately, never received one, either verbally, through email, through phone.
I absolutely sent you an email. You emailed back to me, Sam, saying you had no intention to imply that I stole funds. I will share with you the email I sent to you and the email you sent back to me, where you disavow that you made any implication about my misuse of funds.
I actually know what you're talking about now. In that you asked me simply what commissioner's decision I was referring to. I sent you the commissioner's decision And I would, I would love to get this just resolved right now, so I'm happy if you have the emails, or I could pull up the emails, and we could absolutely go through it, because I believe one of the things that, I understand some of the sensitivity, I never use the word funds. I think funds, I continually use the word assets, which refers to, as we learned as we discussed in our
The superintendent, Sam, the superintendent in a prior claim that he misused district assets. The implication to me is pretty clear.
The implication is, I believe, exactly what's in there, that there was a claim against several people, including you, that there was, school district assets were misused. So again, I'm happy to say whatever you want. What do you want me to, when you say you want a retraction, what do you want the retraction to say? That's what I'm happy to do that if you think what I said was incorrect.
Well, what you said, again, if you disagreed that you implied that I did anything wrong. I think clearly your words say the superintendent in a prior claim that he misused school district assets. I think the implication there is very clear, and I think that it was said in for a specific purpose. That again, I think you misled the community, and there were people who called and asked and emailed after that statement. What did the superintendent steal? What funds did he misuse? There was a perception in the community based upon your statement that is absolutely a false allegation that should be retracted. And again,
I'm happy to say, yes, there were, to the best of my knowledge, no funds involved. I do believe, though, if I read the piece of paper that I sent you what it was, that was the accusation made. It didn't say that you did do it. That was the accusation that was made. So if you want me to say that, I'm happy to retract however you want. What would you like me to say?
all I need to do, and all I needed to do this evening, Sam, was give your quotes and let the community and staff hear your exact words and let them decide whether there was an implication of impropriety or not. That was my intent right now.
Okay, then mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Okay, we're going to move on to the business portion of the meeting. I just want to point out that we welcome public expression and we are happy to see people here. However, if someone wants to speak at the meeting, you must first raise your hand and wait to be called upon. We don't encourage anyone, we don't want anyone calling out and while the board is the meeting of the board and it's a discussion among the board, and we do welcome public comment, but you need to raise your hand and be called upon before you can speak. And with that, we will go to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Again, I think we've heard some discussions tonight from our high school student council regarding this weekend's homecoming event. The weather forecast is ominous, and obviously looking at the best interest of our students in terms of health and safety. We made the decision during the day today to increase the amount of time that our rides are open and that both our middle school and high school students can participate. Originally, they were ending at 6 p.m. On Friday night. At this point, we've negotiated with the Carnival folks, so the rides will be open till 8 p.m. They'll be open from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. The rides, the games, and the food. Our football team, our prize football team, will be playing at home at 6 p.m. And all of our activities for Saturday at this point have been canceled. We're really sorry to make that decision, but we really feel that making that decision early was in the best. The football game is still on. We will hear from John Mankiewicz which athletic events on Saturday will still be held. The Farrell swim event is definitely on. The tennis and the soccer games that are scheduled are under review and will be reviewed as the weather gets closer. I also wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate Alex Rivera and the incredible staff of the Jackson Elementary School. They did an incredible job working for the past 6 months, 8 months, putting together an application to be recognized as a Blue Ribbon School. We are so proud of the work that the staff under Alex's leadership has put together to be awarded that recognition. So an opportunity for us to say congratulations and thank you for all of the hard work day in and day out, which is represented in the Blue Ribbon Award to the Jackson Elementary School. Congratulations. I also have in my notes that I should be talking about school opening. Now, being that school opened in Jericho a month ago, 6 weeks ago, a year ago, it's kind of old news at this point, but I must take the opportunity to say that the incredible hard work of so many people over the summer, registering new families, registering, doing student scheduling, staff scheduling, hiring, transportation, technology, and then add on to that the amount of construction that took place this summer and the work of our buildings and ground staff around all of the construction. It was just an unbelievable school opening. If you walked around the building on the first day of school, on the second day of school, it was like school had been open 4 weeks. Our kids were involved, engaged in day one, and again, kudos to the outstanding support staff and teaching staff and administrative staff of the Jericho School District who plan so well and take such good care of our students. So thank you to one and all for an incredible school opening. The last issue that I wanted to briefly mention is that security is always an area of concern for our parents, for our students, for our staff. And I just want to take this opportunity, while some of the information we purposely do not share, I just would like to share that we continue on a regular basis upgrading our security throughout the district. This summer, we spent a fair amount of dollars in upgrading our security to better protect our students and our staff. And again, it's a high priority of our Board of Education, and we are continuing to look at, on a regular basis, what are ways that we can increase the safety, the security of our students. And I thank the Board of Education for being attentive to that and giving us the opportunity to invest time and monies to improve the security within our school district. Thank you.
And I just want to add about the security. I think I want to give props to our pupil personnel and our staff that, a big way of increasing security, improving security is the mental health of the students and the people in the building. And we've not only expanded security to, the physical plant, but we've been expanding our mental health services. And I think that goes a long way towards making everyone safer. So thank you for all participating in that. Recommended actions, we're going to do the minute. Be it resolved that the Board of Education make any necessary corrections and move the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting dated August 14th, 2023, special meeting dated August 25th, 2023, and executive session dated August 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Jen, thank you. Second, Chris. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Opportunity for the public to be heard. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, please tell us your name and affiliation if you're representing a specific group. If you'd like your statement to be included in our board minutes, hand the written copy to Victor. As always, public discussion on matters relating to staff and students at which their reputation, privacy, or right to due process, or those of others could in some way be violated is prohibited. If anyone wants to speak, please raise your hand. Ethan?
I have the mic now. Sure. Should I face like to the? Okay. Yeah, first of all, having gone to
the Jericho Summer Music practice rehearsals to report on. And then I have to say, they did an incredible job putting them on. I thank Ms. Greenbach for the nice words, and everyone involved in Jericho Summer Music, from Ms. Greenbach to the teachers, to the high school interns, really put in a great effort to make sure it went well. And I think the kids learned a lot and they had lots of fun there. So secondly, I want to talk to the board about the rules regarding the use of tennis courts. So recently, as a leader in the tennis team, I've been getting some questions like, Ethan, how do you get the tennis permit? Where do you get it? Can I see your permit? What does it look like? And I've been answering these questions, and so the current policy, I have a permit. I got my permit a while ago, and the current policy says that to use the tennis court during the school year, we have to, all Jericho residents have to go to buildings and grounds with identification to get a permit, which lasts for a year. While I see benefits of this policy, I think there are ways to improve it so it favors students. Let me explain. So when I receive these questions, I explain to them how to go to buildings and grounds. Not many people know where buildings and grounds are. If anyone, yeah, it's a really hidden part of the school. You have to like sidestep through transportation to get there. Go up like the hill, walk like a mile. Barefoot, it's a long journey. I was seeing their pictures of Google Earth of the school and drawing a line. I'm having to get to buildings and grounds. I was actually doing that. Yeah, so my suggestion is that students can play in the tennis courts with their student ID, either by bringing their student ID or by showing their student ID on Tower School. I think that'll be a really great change to encourage students to use our facilities to practice we have great tennis courts. They were renovated a year ago, and the school really did an amazing job renovating them. They're new, they're great. I love playing on them. I always love playing on them. So, and I want other students to enjoy playing on them without any complications, without security. At times security, if they don't have the permit, security will ask them to leave or ask them to get the permit. And it's a confusing process for many. Not many people know about it. So I think having I think allowing kids to play with their student ID will be a great change. I think we should make it, we have such great facilities here in Jericho. That's one of the great things about this school. And I think we should make it easier for students to use our facilities in any way possible, really. And by allowing them to play their student ID, I think that's a great way to make that happen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. I think that's a great idea, and if we can make that happen, I think, we'll look into it, but I think it's a great idea. Everyone else would have to go through the permit process, but students would.
We'll take a look at it. We'll talk to Mr. Hahn and see how that works in terms of scheduling and whether we can find a way to make it easier for our students to use the tennis courts.
Only if we can issue this new process and name it after you.
We're sticking to snow days.
Thanks, Ethan. Anyone else? Ira?
Hey, you mentioned about the summer programs and the COVID funds. Do we have an idea of what the actual cost to us would be if we didn't have those funds?
Victor, can I put you on the spot, ballpark?
Doesn't have to be today, but
Yeah. It's significant. It's a significant amount of money in terms of our after-school program and our summer program.
Yeah, we received between Carissa and the American Rescue Plan in total, by the time it ends in September 24, it totals $1.7 million. But that included next year will be the third summer, and after school for, I believe, 3 school years as well. So it's all incorporated in that. The summer program itself is probably in the $300,000 range, I would imagine.
And there's
Don't quote me, but
there's
roughly.
no fee, there's no,
Not, the summer
No
music
tuition
program
fee.
has
Summer?
a fee. That was a parent-paid summer music program. The summer music program was not part of the American Rescue Plan or the Carissa Plan. The summer program that Mr. Cohen spoke about was part of the American Rescue Plan.
and did the music program cover itself financially? Did it cover?
Yeah, for the most part. I think next year this was the first year, next year we'll probably do a better job of exactly what the staff was needed, for that particular event, but for the most part, I would say yes.
So, do you think?
And it should be self-sustaining.
Okay, and again, so with regard to the middle school and high school, summer program, do you think it would be possible to get some real budgeted number in the event that we wanted to run that?
Of course, yeah, we will.
I read, so one of the discussions that we've had is, can we run it, we want to run it, and can we run it a little more efficiently? So maybe, the cost is not up, again, ballpark 300, maybe it's something that we can afford to budget and service the same number of kids. So again, as we try to lobby to continue the money, we also will spend time this year, well, again, we are funded through summer 24, but we're going to spend time looking at that program in 24. What if it's not funded in the summer of 25, and what might it look like, and what might be the budget implication? But clearly, from talking to staff, there is a strong desire that we figure a way out to continue the program in some shape, manner, or form.
No, and again, one of the reasons I ask is it might be good time, even early before the 24 summer, to promote the program so that the community gets a sense of its value, because if it needs to be placed in the 25 budget,
It wouldn't, the summer 25 would not be in this year's
Right.
budget process. It would be in the following year's budget
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
And I believe we select the students to be part of the program, so it's not something that people, like anyone could just join it. We select the students because due to, various needs and where they are academically.
Thanks, Aaron. Denise, is there any emails?
I do not mean to come back to this, and I apologize to the audience. I found the email that you're referring to, Mr. Superintendent. There was no withdrawal asked by you. You simply asked, after saying a whole bunch of things that I don't think were true in the email, I asked you again, please share the information supporting your public accusation. That was the only request you made to me in the email, and I believe my response, since we're letting everyone know my exact words. As I mentioned on Friday, Googling Grishman and Gersio returns this link to the decision. What I said on Friday was not an accusation, but only a reference to this public filing, which lists Gregory J. Gersio of Gersio and Gersio as your representative. That was the only point of what I was trying to do. There was no implication. There was nothing implied in what I was saying. I was simply referencing that. And by the way, there was no intention in that meeting of doing it. It came up as part of a normal conversation that we were having about representation and disclosure about prior relationships.
Sam, excuse me, but if you read your words, there clearly was, you may not see it, but there are people who interpret it as well as I did as a direct implication, which you're denying. But again, I say to the community and I say to the staff, listen to Sam Perlman's words at the August 25th board meeting and tell me whether you think there is an implication, an accusation in Sam Perlman's words. That's all I'm saying, Sam.
Okay, and then I would ask those same people to go back and read the decision that the superintendent provided you the number. I believe most everything I said was, if not word for word, a paraphrasing of exactly what what was discussed in that commissioner's appeal. And look, the superintendent can now say what he would like. I'm done discussing this. I think that we've already spent enough time talking about it.
We have, and again, I encourage anyone interested in further researching this, please listen to Mr. Perlman's words and tell me how you interpret them, and read the commissioner's decision and tell me whether the two line up in your minds as being a perfectly okay conversation.
Okay. Unfinished business, adoption of policy 3270, use of school facilities, and policy 3271, use of school facilities, materials, and equipment. Be it resolved that the board adopts 3270 and 3271. Do I have a motion? Sam, second. Chris, any discussion? And just let's keep our discussion to something that's new, or any points that haven't been already made, since the points that were made can be also listened to at our last few meetings.
I need all 2 minutes. Oh, sorry, Dr. Balatron, ready to go.
I know that when certain groups plan their meetings, they specify a number of adults needed per number of children, or ratio of adults to children. Do we do that for any people who want to use our facilities that involve large groups of children? Specify that a certain number of adults need to be present? No? Okay.
We, again, in our conversations, whenever there are large groups of students, we do ask for a number of chaperones. Who are the chaperones? Just to ensure that the safety and well-being of an event is covered.
Mr. Chairman, I need 2 minutes and 30 seconds to say what I have to say. Some of it may be repetitive, but it'll be fast. For a school district accustomed to universal admiration and accolades, the negative publicity and strong community reaction surrounding Jericho schools last March was a deeply shocking event. The videos released by Project Veritas forced our community to question the focus and ethics of our school board, our school administration, and our faculty. The ensuing investigation cost our district valuable time and dollars. Most importantly, it fractured the trust built over many decades between our community and those who administer our schools. Our district is rich in assets and rightfully makes every effort to allow members of this community, as well as those of neighboring communities, to use them when available and appropriate. Last March, this board, which is entrusted with the responsibility for the district's grounds, committed to improving our approval process for non-Jericho community uses of these facilities. Unfortunately, this draft policy in front of us goes in a diametrically opposite direction, incorrectly endowing the superintendent with authority, essentially removing the school board from the decision-making process, and thereby increasing the risk of another rushed and flawed decision. Only 2 arguments in favor of this policy and against mandating board pre-approval of non-community events have been made. Both are flawed. First, what if there's an emergency need by a non-Jericho organization and the board can't convene? If the cause is so great, I am confident at least 3 members of the board will make the effort to get together to approve the use. If not, so be it. I would rather miss that opportunity than suffer through what this district endured this past March and April. The second argument, some have argued that since the Veritas incident, the superintendent has been better at notifying the board about events. If that is the case and seen as desirable, why is there any resistance to codifying that requirement in our district policy? This policy will be here long after this board and this superintendent, and codifying this requirement is clearly in the best interest of the district, especially since it eliminates the hurried approval of uses and events where further diligence and deliberation would be prudent. The current draft of 3270 is flawed. Board oversight and pre-approval should always be required for any non-Jericho community use of district's facilities. That is one of the tasks that the 5 of us were elected to perform.
Anyone else? All in favor? The 4, all opposed? 1. Okay. Passes 4-1. Thank you. New business. Authorization that the President of the Board of Education is authorized to execute employment agreements for the 2023-24 and the 24-25 school years for the following employees: Michael Hahn, Kim Conger, Anne Marie Carrero, Rita Dolce, Melissa Lee, Denise Nash, Michael Rubino, Michelle Stokel, Lorian Savino, Ben Chufo, Victor Manuel, Ivy Sherman, and Patrick Fogarty. Do I have a motion? Jen, second. Chris, any discussion?
I believe we were going to discuss this in executive session since it was personnel matter, but we didn't. I would love to table it, but I'm not sure. I mean, I would make a motion to table until we can discuss it. We're meeting an executive after this. We can talk about it and then come back and vote on it if need be.
Chris, we vote on tabling it?
Right now, there's a motion before the board to table. We need a second and for 3 board members to vote in favor of table.
Your motion, you're seconding the motion to table.
As the superintendent said, it's been 2 months. As you know, we're going into executive session after this. We can easily come back out here and vote yea or nay on these right afterwards. This was something we talked about a few weeks ago that we were going to discuss this in executive, and we ran out of time today.
Sam, just to clear the record, this information and this recommendation has been in the board's hands for 2 months.
As I would never want to publicly disagree with you, and I'm going to confirm my recollection because I see I'm being checked on every I's and T's and crossing everything. I believe the date on the documents that you gave us were 8/13 of 2023. If I'm incorrect, I apologize in advance. Here's the 8/14/2023, that's 30 days. I'm sorry, 37 days. And when we met, we did discuss it briefly, and I said we didn't, I thought we discussed having another conversation about it.
My recollection is different than yours, Sam, surprisingly so. That first discussion, I believe I said to the board, should you have concerns or questions, we would like to have this moved and adopted at the September board meeting. Please feel free to raise concerns and questions when I discussed this with the board over the summer. Questions were raised two or three days before the board meeting. So again, just for clarification purposes, there was plenty of time and several board meetings for us to discuss this and offered to answer any questions that board members had over the time period where it was first discussed coming into tonight's meeting. And your questions were raised in a day or 2, 3 before the board meeting. But again, up to the Board of Education in terms of how you'd like to proceed.
Again, I think it's just a very poor look for this district when we keep getting into these back and forths over little things, and I'm just going to leave it at that because there's just so much to be said. If the board would like to vote on this, feel free. Like I said, I can abstain from it as my questions haven't been answered, and that's fine, and I don't have an issue with that.
I actually didn't see any questions, Sam. You call that back and forth, but I did not see any questions from you regarding the agreements before you.
Well, when I'm talking about the back and forth, I'm talking about the back and forth right now. I'm not talking about the emails. And again, because we're talking about employees, I can't read the emails, and I can't go back and see the emails and talk about the suggestions that were made in the emails, which to some extent you agreed with. So be it. Again, there's a second to table it. If there's no third vote to table it, we can vote on it now. That's not an issue.
All in favor of tabling it? All opposed? All in favor of approving the employment agreements? 3, all opposed? Abstained. Okay. 3-0.
Sorry, I didn't see the first vote on the table.
3-2.
2-3. Thank you. 2-3.
2. Adoption of the school calendar for the 24-25 school year. Be it resolved that the board adopts the calendar as shown in the attached. Do I have a motion? Jen, second. Sam, any discussion?
Just basically, next year's calendar is very similar to this year's calendar. We start with staff on the Monday and Tuesday before Labor Day, and students will come in the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before Labor Day. So again, the format of the recommended calendar is very similar to this year's calendar. And again, we take great pride that our school district recognizes cultural celebrations as well as religious holidays in our 24-25 calendar.
One question is, the last day of school is Friday, June 27th. Is graduation on the 29th or the 22nd?
High school graduation, I believe, is on the 22nd.
Thank you.
And the last day of school, I thought, was the Wednesday, if you have the calendar open, 27th, which is Friday. I'm sorry, Friday.
This year it's
Right, okay.
But graduation is going to be the prior Sunday, the 22nd.
That is, I believe graduation is on the 23rd. We'll, yeah, 99% sure it's on the 23rd.
This year it's on the 23rd.
That's a Monday.
I'm sorry. I can't see. Okay. We'll verify that. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's usually the 4th Sunday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 22nd. Let's take a look. 19th.
The 22nd would be the 4th, because you have the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd.
22nd. We will take a look at that and confirm that that's the date.
All in favor? 5, thank you. Acceptance of donation. Recommended the board accept a donation of $937.12 from the Jackson PTA to be used for BOCES Art and Education of Jackson Journeys into American Territories on December 4th. Do I have a motion? Chris, second. Ziggy, any discussion? Thank you very much to the Jackson PTA. All in favor? Thank you. There's 2 stipulations. And when we go back into executive session, someone will explain them to us in further detail. Okay. Okay. Recommended be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approve a special education stipulation 2024-01 and 2024-02 for the 23-24 school year and directs the superintendent to sign such stipulation on behalf of the board. Do I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to table it so we can discuss it in executive and once we come back if we need to. We didn't get a chance to discuss it. So I'm making a motion to table. Is there a second? Anyone want to? Third, okay.
All in favor of tabling it? Table.
Well, we can have the intention of coming back after our executive session to vote on this tonight, correct?
You just have to conclude at the end of our session tonight that you may be going back into public to vote on this. That would be very appropriate.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is this something that needs to be approved tonight to make happen? Okay. So then, most
time
likely.
sensitive, this needs to be.
Yes.
Okay. Funding of reserves, be it resolved that the school district approve the funding of reserves indicated on the attached. Do I have a motion? Sam, second. Divya, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Schedules. 13752 through U358. Do I have a motion to approve the schedules? Jen, thank you. And second? Divya, discussion? I didn't have any questions on them. Okay. Oh, yes, Ivan, thank you for raising your hand, I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I'd like to address the 5 board members about an issue that just arose here. There was a motion here to award salaries to what we call our confidential salaried people. And I just went to the agenda item. And my guess, and it's just a guess based upon having some history here, that was a motion to approve in excess or round about $2 million of salaries. And if there are any questions, and this has nothing to do with the superintendent, it has nothing to do with administrators, this is the 5 of you. If there are any questions that need to be raised about voting on salaries, like that's one of your biggest jobs here. It's budget and money. And again, I assume in the regular course of business, the superintendent, the assistant superintendents recommended those salaries that weren't their own. And it just seemed like there was a cavalier vote on these just now without discussion. This is serious business. This is really serious business. And again, this is my perception.
There
perception.
have been several board meetings since this was presented. It was discussed at length with the board.
Hey,
and
with all due respect,
clarifying.
this is a board question, not a superintendent
But
question.
what I'm doing is I'm responding to you saying there was this, I'm the one who handled and gave the spreadsheet to the Board of Education. Again,
I assume that.
let me finish. Over a month ago, Ira, and I'm attesting to you that there was discussion and ample opportunity for questions to be asked over the last 5 weeks.
Okay.
You weren't in the room.
No, again, I'm not, just with my own 2 eyes over the last 15 minutes, again, my perception is that there were questions to be
And
answered about salaries.
that is an incorrect.
Significant salaries.
Incorrect perception, Ira.
And Mr. Chappell, I disagree with you. I think that's a more correct perception than the superintendent is indicating.
I would like to, before we close, read a text message I got from John Mankiewicz. Oh, did we vote on schedules yet? I'm sorry, go.
All in favor of approving the schedules? Jen, second, or motion, sorry, Sam, second. Well, we did the motion, we just have to vote, I'll say, all in favor? Okay, no.
Again, to Ethan's question, I received an email from John Mankiewicz. I spoke with security during the summer, and I asked them to please allow our students on the tennis courts and just ask them for IDs. I think, again, John Mankiewicz's response is, I think basically that's what we're currently doing with students. And again, we'll talk to Mr. Mankiewicz and Mr. Hahn, but it appears that, again, we will make sure that we continue going in that direction, number one. Number two, I also wanted to share with the board and with the community that I just saw a press release this afternoon that Veritas was going out of business and folding shop. I'm not exactly sure why, but I did see, I think it was a CBS report that Veritas is in the process of downsizing, moving toward closing shop.
Do I have a motion to adjourn with it? What, sorry.
We have to get some language.
Adjourn, actually vote to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing stipulation with the understanding that there's a possibility of going back in public session.
Take board action on session stipulations.
Do I have a motion on that? Sam, second. Jen? Any discussion? So if we come back into the session, public
That's
session,
when we'll adjourn.
do we need to come back into this room, or could we call it into the room that we could just make that a public
Yes.
session in that
The door
room?
is open and the public has the right to come in.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Chris, maybe we'll-
Okay. So meeting is not adjourned. We're going into executive session.